First Contact Protocol. The Galactic Commonwealth vessel Eternal Harmony shuddered as its long-range sensors detected an anomaly in the Cygnus arm. Senior observer Zextrol stood at the command center, all four of his crystalline eyes widening in disbelief at the data streaming across the holographic displays. "Scan it again," he ordered, his voice carrying the distinctive melodic tones of the Vosari species. "There must be an error in the sensor array." Lieutenant Kira, a meridian with scaled skin that shimmered under the dim blue lights of the bridge, moved her six-fingered hands across the control interface. "Scans confirmed. Senior observer. The vessel matches no known configuration in our database. Its energy signature is unprecedented." The Eternal Harmony was the pride of the Commonwealth's exploratory fleet, a massive diplomatic vessel equipped with the most advanced scanning technology available to the 17 species that made up the Galactic Commonwealth. For 15,000 cycles, the Commonwealth had maintained peace across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy. They had encountered many primitive species, but none that posed any significant challenge to their technological superiority. Until now, the unknown vessel moved through the asteroid field with impossible precision. Its hull was dark, absorbing rather than reflecting scanner pulses. Angular and utilitarian in design, it bore none of the aesthetic flourishes common to Commonwealth ships. Most concerning were the weapon emplacements clearly visible along its flanks, designs that suggested devastating capabilities. "Magnify Sector 7, Zextrol commanded. The main view screen zoomed in on the hull of the mysterious vessel. There, emblazoned on the side, was a symbol unfamiliar to most of the crew. A blue and green sphere, partially covered by what appeared to be white clouds, surrounded by a circle of white stars. "Earth," whispered Science Officer Van Mora, her voice barely audible. The Lumari scientist's bioluminescent patterns pulsed with anxiety across her translucent skin. "That's a human ship." A profound silence fell over the bridge. Humans were a quarantine species, confined to their home system by Commonwealth directive. Deemed too aggressive and unpredictable for contact, Earth had been placed under distant observation only. Their technological development was carefully monitored and estimated to be centuries away from achieving interstellar capabilities. Yet here was irrefutable evidence to the contrary. "Alert Commonwealth Command," Zextrol ordered, his normally melodious voice now sharp with urgency. "Priority Alpha, human warship detected in the Cygnus sector." Within hours, a response fleet had assembled at a safe distance from the human vessel. 30 Commonwealth ships formed a defensive perimeter, their weapons systems powered but not targeted, a show of force meant to discourage aggression while diplomacy could be attempted. "No response to our hailing frequencies," reported Communications Officer Drell, a Taurian whose broad shoulders and dense musculature betrayed his species' high-gravity origins. "They're receiving our signals but choosing not to answer." Zextrol studied the tactical display with growing concern. The human ship had maintained its course through the asteroid field, seemingly unconcerned by the Commonwealth fleet that had gathered to intercept it. "Their technology shouldn't be this advanced," Van Mora said, reviewing the scan data. "According to our last observation report, humans were still using chemical propulsion and had only established outposts on their neighboring planets. This vessel uses a form of gravitational manipulation we've only theorized about." "Could they have been helped?" Lieutenant Kira suggested. "Perhaps another spacefaring race made contact against protocols." "Impossible," Zextrol responded. "All Commonwealth species adhere to the non-interference directive, and no other known civilization has the capability to." Senior observer Drell interrupted. "The human vessel is changing course. It's heading directly toward us." On the view screen, the dark ship pivoted with alarming speed, its engines flaring with blue-white energy as it accelerated toward the Eternal Harmony. "Defensive posture," Zextrol ordered, his inner eyelids blinking rapidly in the Vosari equivalent of nervousness. "Shields at maximum. Prepare emergency jump coordinates." The human vessel closed the distance between them with frightening velocity, coming to a relative stop mere kilometers from the Eternal Harmony, close enough that the details of its battle-scarred hull were visible without magnification. Deep gouges marred its surface, evidence of past conflicts that it had survived. "They're scanning us," Lieutenant Kira reported, her voice tinged with alarm. "Their scans are penetrating our shields as if they weren't there." Zextrol straightened his posture, forearms assuming the formal diplomatic stance of his people. "Open all communication channels. If they can see us, let them hear us too. Channel open. Senior Observer." "This is Senior Observer Zextrol of the Galactic Commonwealth vessel Eternal Harmony. We are a peaceful exploratory vessel. Please identify yourself and state your purpose in Commonwealth space." The bridge crew waited in tense silence. Then, unexpectedly, the human ship's external lights dimmed, weapon ports closed, and its energy signature decreased substantially. "Are they powering down?" Kira asked, puzzled. "Surrendering. Or preparing to attack," Drell countered grimly. A sound came through their speakers, at first unintelligible, then resolving into words spoken in perfect Commonwealth standard, the trade language used across the 17 species. "Commonwealth vessel Eternal Harmony, this is Captain Ilara Chen of the Earth Defense Force ship Vigilant. We come in peace and request permission to send representatives to discuss matters of urgent importance to both our peoples." The unexpected response left the bridge in stunned silence. Not only had the humans mastered interstellar travel far ahead of Commonwealth projections, but they had also learned the Commonwealth language. "Captain Chen," Zextrol replied cautiously, "I must consult with Commonwealth Command before agreeing to any meeting." "Understood, Senior Observer," came the human's calm response. "However, I must inform you that time is of critical importance. The threat we've come to warn you about will not wait for bureaucratic procedures." "Threat?" Zextrol questioned, exchanging glances with his officers. "Yes, Senior Observer. The Void Swarm has awakened from dormancy. They've already consumed 3 human outposts. According to our calculations, Commonwealth worlds are next in their path." A chill ran through Zextrol's body. The Void Swarm was a legend, a horror story told to young ones throughout the Commonwealth. Cosmic predators that consumed entire worlds before retreating back into the dark spaces between galaxies. Most believe them to be myths, cautionary tales from the early days of interstellar exploration. "Stand by, human vessel," he said, then cut the communication. "Send an urgent message to command. Priority Alpha 1. Include everything we've learned about the human ship and this warning." As the message was transmitted, Zextrol stared at the dark vessel floating silently before them. Humans, a species the Commonwealth had dismissed as primitive, had somehow built ships that outclassed their technology. And now they claimed an ancient horror was returning. The Commonwealth High Council convened an emergency session. Delegates from all 17 species crowded the circular chamber on the capital world of Harmonium Prime, their voices creating a cacophony of languages, tones, and clicks. High Counselor Xandoral, an ancient Fosari whose crystalline eyes had witnessed 5 centuries of Commonwealth history, raised his ceremonial staff, bringing immediate silence to the chamber. "We face an unprecedented situation," he began, his voice carrying easily through the perfect acoustics of the council chamber. "A human warship has breached the quarantine zone with technology far beyond what should be possible for their civilization. They'd bring warnings of the Void Swarm, a threat most consider mythological." General Tokmar, commander of the Commonwealth Defense Force, and a massive Taurian whose scars testify to his experience, stepped forward. "We should neutralize the human vessel immediately. Their very presence violates our most sacred directives." "And if their warning is true?" asked Ambassador Lurnaya, a Lumari whose luminescent patterns shifted with her emotions. "If the Void Swarm has indeed returned, we cannot afford to ignore any information, regardless of its source." The debate raged for hours. Some counselors demanded immediate military action against the human vessel. Others argued for caution and diplomatic engagement. In the end, a compromise was reached. A small delegation would meet with the humans aboard the Eternal Harmony, surrounded by the full might of the Commonwealth fleet as a precaution. 3 days later, a shuttle departed from the Vigilant, carrying the human representatives to the diplomatic meeting. Ambassador Varshan, chosen to lead the Commonwealth delegation due to his extensive experience with first contact scenarios, watched through the observation window as the human shuttle approached the docking bay. "Remember your training," he told his team of 5 assistants. "Make no sudden movements. Humans are known to be unpredictable and potentially aggressive." When the shuttle landed and its doors opened, Varshan was surprised by what he saw. The humans were smaller than he expected. Most would barely reach his shoulder. They had no natural defenses, no claws, no armored skin, nothing that suggested they could be the dangerous species the Commonwealth had feared for generations. 5 humans emerged, 4 wearing dark uniforms with the Earth insignia, and 1, clearly their leader, in what appeared to be more ceremonial dress. This human stepped forward, looking directly at Varshan without any sign of intimidation, despite the significant difference in their sizes. "Ambassador Varshan, I am Captain Ilara Chen of the EDF Vigilant. Thank you for agreeing to this meeting." The human's face moved in what Varshan's cultural briefing identified as a smile, a friendly gesture. Yet there was something in the human's eyes that spoke of hardship, of battles fought and horrors witnessed. "Captain Chen," Varshan replied formally, "the Commonwealth wishes to understand your presence in our space and the nature of this threat you claim exists." Captain Chen nodded. "Of course. We have much to discuss, Ambassador. The future of both our civilizations may depend on it." As they moved toward the conference room, Varshan couldn't help but notice how the other Commonwealth officials watched the humans with a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. These creatures had been isolated, considered too dangerous to contact. Yet here they were, walking calmly through a Commonwealth vessel, seemingly unimpressed by technology that should have been centuries beyond their understanding. Something wasn't adding up, and Varshan intended to discover what these humans were really after, before it was too late. The battle beyond stars. In the conference room of the Eternal Harmony, Captain Ilara Chen activated a holographic projector. The device, clearly of human manufacture, displayed a 3-dimensional star map that matched Commonwealth cartography with disturbing accuracy. "For the past 15 years, Earth has been aware of the Galactic Commonwealth," she began, her voice steady and matter-of-fact. "While you observed us, we observed you." Ambassador Varshan's translucent skin flushed with surprise. "Impossible. Our stealth technology is based on phase-shifted gravitational fields," Chen finished for him. "We detected your observation posts near Jupiter during our first expansion beyond Mars. We've been monitoring your communications ever since." The Commonwealth delegation exchanged troubled glances. The implications were staggering. Humans had not only detected their supposedly undetectable observation posts, but had also decoded their encrypted communications. "If you've been aware of us for so long, why reveal yourselves now?" Varshan asked. Captain Chen's expression darkened. "Because we no longer have a choice." She manipulated the holographic controls, and the star map zoomed in on a region of space at the edge of Commonwealth territory. A dark mass appeared there, moving slowly but inexorably toward populated systems. "We call them the Void Swarm," Chen explained. 3 months ago, they emerged from deep space and attacked our colony on Proxima Centauri b. 2 billion lives were lost in less than 6 hours. The hologram shifted to show footage that made several Commonwealth officials recoil in horror. A verdant planet, similar to many Commonwealth worlds, was being systematically consumed by what looked like a living shadow. Where it passed, nothing remained but bare rock. "This is the Proxima colony, or what's left of it," Chen continued grimly. "The swarm doesn't just kill, it consumes. Organic matter, atmosphere, even parts of the planetary crust, everything that can be converted to energy. Varshin watched in stunned silence. The Void Swarm had always been considered a myth, a cautionary tale told to remind Commonwealth species of the dangers that might lurk in unexplored space. According to our calculations, Chen continued, they're heading directly toward the Cygnus Arm, toward your most populated worlds. We tracked them through 3 systems before intercepting your exploratory vessel. If this threat is real, General Tokmar said, his deep voice rumbling with suspicion, why would humans warn us? Your species has been isolated because of your natural aggression and territorial instincts. Captain Chen's expression hardened. Because we've faced the swarm before. Not this generation, but our ancestors did. Thousands of years ago. Cave paintings, ancient texts from multiple Earth cultures, they all tell of sky devourers that came and nearly wiped us out before retreating. She gestured to one of her officers, who stepped forward with an ancient-looking leather-bound book. We call it the Codex Void, a compilation of all known human records of the previous invasion. When the swarm attacked Proxima, we recognized them immediately. Varshin carefully took the book, feeling its genuine animal skin binding, something that would be considered barbaric in Commonwealth culture, but spoke to the authenticity of the artifact. If what you say is true, Varshin said slowly, why should we believe humans can help us fight this threat? Your technology is impressive but still inferior to ours in many ways. For the first time, Captain Chen smiled genuinely. Is it, Ambassador? The Vigilant is just one of our smaller vessels. And as for our capabilities, she nodded to another officer who activated a different holographic display. The new hologram showed schematics for weapon systems beyond anything the Commonwealth had developed, gravitic disruptors, dimensional phase cannons, and something called a stellar compression matrix. Humanity has been preparing for the swarm's return for generations, Chen explained. Everything we've done, our rapid industrialization, our aggressive resource acquisition, our seemingly endless conflicts, all of it was to prepare us for this moment. We fought among ourselves to become stronger, to develop better weapons and defenses. Before the Commonwealth delegation could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. A communications officer burst into the conference room. Ambassador, something massive has emerged from subspace near Colony Outpost 7. The main view screen activated to show a real-time feed from the colony. A tear in the fabric of space had appeared, and through it came something that defied comprehension. A vast crystalline structure with writhing tentacles of dark energy. Around it swarmed thousands of smaller entities, each the size of a small moon. The Void Swarm, Captain Chen whispered. And that's just their advanced scout. The command center erupted into chaos as Commonwealth officials shouted orders and called for evacuations. Within minutes, reports began flooding in. The colony's outer defenses had fallen. 3 Commonwealth cruisers had been destroyed without landing a single effective hit on the swarm entities. Your weapons won't work against them, Chen said, her voice cutting through the panic. They exist partially in another dimension. Conventional energy weapons just pass through them. General Tokmar turned to her, his previous suspicion replaced by desperate hope. You said you've prepared for this. Can your weapons hurt them? Chen nodded grimly. Yes, but not alone. We'll need to combine our technologies. The Vigilant can disrupt their dimensional phasing, making them vulnerable to your energy weapons. Varshin looked from the horrific scene on the view screen to the human captain. Everything the Commonwealth knew about humans suggested they were dangerous, unpredictable, and not to be trusted. Yet here they were, offering salvation when it was needed most. What do you propose, Captain? He asked. A joint operation. The Vigilant will lead the attack, creating vulnerabilities that your fleet can exploit. Meanwhile, we need your scientists to adapt our phase disruptor technology to your larger vessels. Within hours, a desperate plan was formed. The Vigilant would engage the swarm directly, while Commonwealth engineers worked frantically to integrate human technology into their defensive systems. It was a plan born of desperation, with slim chances of success. As the human shuttle prepared to return to the Vigilant, Captain Chen paused at the airlock. "Ambassador Varshen, there's something you should know." "What is it, Captain?" "The Commonwealth has misunderstood humanity. You saw our conflicts and aggression, and assumed we were dangerous to other species. But everything we've done, every war, every struggle, was preparation. We somehow remembered the Void Swarm in our collective nightmares, in our myths about world-enders. We've been getting ready for their return since before we knew what we were afraid of." With that, she boarded her shuttle and departed. 3 days later, the battle began. The Vigilant moved with impossible speed toward the swarm, its weapons firing brilliant beams of energy that seemed to distort reality itself where they struck. For the first time, the swarm entities recoiled, wounded by weapons specifically designed to harm them. The Commonwealth fleet followed, their modified weapons now capable of inflicting damage thanks to the human phase disruptor technology. But the swarm was vast, and for every entity destroyed, 10 more emerged from the spatial tear. On the bridge of the Eternal Harmony, now converted to a battle command center, Varshen watched with a mixture of hope and dread as the human vessel fought with ferocious determination. The Vigilant took hit after hit yet continued fighting, its self-healing hull absorbing damage that would have destroyed any Commonwealth ship. "The spatial tear is expanding," reported a science officer. "More swarm entities are coming through. We can't hold them off much longer." Varshen opened a communication channel to the Vigilant. On the screen, Captain Chen appeared. Her bridge was damaged, emergency lighting casting red shadows across her face, but her expression remained determined. "Captain, we're losing ground. The tear continues to grow." Chen nodded grimly. "We expected this. It's time for our final option." She turned to her crew and issued an order. "Prepare the stellar compression matrix." Sensor readings from the Vigilant suddenly spiked to unprecedented levels. The human ship accelerated directly toward the spatial tear, weapons firing continuously to clear a path through the swarm entities. "Captain, what are you doing?" Varshen demanded. "The only thing that will work," Chen replied calmly. "The swarm comes through dimensional weak points. The only way to stop them is to seal the breach, permanently." Varshen understood with sudden clarity. "You're going to collapse the tear, with your ship inside it." "Correct. The compression matrix will initiate a localized dimensional collapse. It will seal the breach and destroy any swarm entities in the vicinity." Chen's expression softened slightly. "Ambassador, humanity developed this technology, knowing it could only be used once, and at great cost. We've always understood that sacrifice might be necessary. But your crew volunteered for this mission, knowing it was likely one way." Chen interrupted. "Tell your people about us, Ambassador. Tell them the humans aren't just aggressive. We're protective. We fight because we must. We sacrifice because others shouldn't have to." Before Varshen could respond, the Vigilant plunged into the heart of the swarm, its engines flaring with blinding intensity as it drove toward the spatial tear. The Commonwealth fleet withdrew to a safe distance as energy readings from the human vessel reached impossible levels. There was a moment of perfect stillness, as if the universe itself held its breath. Then, a flash of light so intense that even the Eternal Harmony's automated filters couldn't fully compensate. When visibility returned, the spatial tear was gone. So was the swarm. And so was the Vigilant. In the silence that followed, Varshen stared at the empty space where thousands of swarm entities had been moments before. A single human vessel had done what the entire Commonwealth fleet could not. 6 months later, a new monument stood in the center of the Commonwealth Council chamber on Harmonium Prime, a perfect replica of the Earth Defense Force ship Vigilant, cast in eternal crystal. Beneath it, an inscription in all 17 Commonwealth languages and human English. In memory of Captain Ilara Chen and the crew of the EDF Vigilant, who gave their lives to save not only their own species, but all sentient life in the galaxy. May we honor their sacrifice by building the peaceful future they died to protect. And in orbit around Earth, A delegation of Commonwealth ships waited, their mission no longer observation but invitation, offering humanity the place among the stars they had earned through courage, sacrifice, and the unexpected wisdom to reach out to those who had once feared them. For the first time in 15,000 cycles, the Galactic Commonwealth prepared to welcome a new member species. The humans were coming to the stars not as conquerors, but as saviors. The Void Swarm had awakened ancient terrors, but it had also forged an alliance that would reshape the galaxy forever.